Welcome to my 41st video. It is now the second Sunday since I moved to Long Beach, Washington. I really like it here so far. It has been sunny and 60 most days. When I look out the window in my office, located at the back of my house, I see forest. If I go to the front of my house, I see the ocean. It's great. I am still in a bit of disbelief that I live here. I love my new house, even though I discovered that my oven exhaust has a leak and water drips into my microwave, so I'll have to get that fixed. But other than that, everything seems to be as I thought it would be. I'm still working on getting situated, and I don't seem to have enough hours in the day to get caught up. The only way I know how to make these videos work is to just talk about what is on my mind. Currently, I am very distracted by the fact that I want to work on the classwork for the Bible class I am taking. I will learn a lot to help. I think it will help. I will learn a lot to help improve these videos, but I have decided to prioritize what I was given first, and that is this journey of healing. I have been doing this journey saying that I am trusting the Lord and I am acting in faith, and I have had good results. My faith has been growing, and physically I was getting better. I walked around Silverwood several times this year without issue, which is something I couldn't have done last year. Everything was looking up. I was even getting to move to the place where I wanted to retire. What could possibly mess things up? Moving. Apparently, all this trust in the Lord and physical endurance was a figment of my imagination, because the moment things got mildly difficult, I apparently gained a photographic memory and started quoting Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verses 2 and 3. Meaningless, meaningless, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? I am glad that I was able to keep my composure and help my family through a very difficult 5 days that felt like 2 months. My upbeat and optimistic attitude, I'm sure, was an encouragement for all that encountered me. What brought about this drastic change in temperament? The thing that usually sets people off: money. I had everything planned out. I had quotes for movers and a truck rental. I had I had also had a timetable where I was supposed to get additional funds, easing the burden even further. Did any of my plans together come together? Of course they did. Just not how or when I had expected them to, which really doesn't make them my plans, now does it? Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in the mind of man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand." God seemed to think I had not learned this lesson, even though I had covered it in my sixth video and again in much more depth in my 34th video. But not being one to let the Lord down, I did my part to prove him right. The money issue started on the day before I pulled away when I rented the moving truck. I had a price quote for the truck, but by the time I was done at the counter, the price was nearly double. Well, it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out that blowing the budget on the first thing might make it difficult to pay the movers I had hired. My mom, hearing of this financial shortfall, offered to cover the cost of the movers till my house closed. She just needed to get she just needed to get me the money. So the movers showed up at and these guys the movers showed up. These guys worked like they were being paid by the hour. Because if they had been paid by the piece, I would have gotten significantly more value for my money. These guys apparently played Tetris paused, because every item was a prolonged discussion on placement. After 3 hours of this, everybody is sick of it, and we just want them to go away. Well, I had still not received the money from my mom. So our friends, who were also helping us load the truck, had a stroke of both incredible generosity and incredibly bad judgment at the same time. They decided to cover the cost of the movers for us, so they would go away. Well, my mom gets me the money a couple of hours later, and I go to reimburse my friends for the movers, and exhibiting even more generosity, tell me to hang on to it till after we move and we can settle up later, since they were going to be joining us on the move to help us move and do some unpacking and maybe even a little sightseeing. Well, being as that I am now holding cash that I don't want to lose, I deposit it in my bank. Now, these money issues are being made worse by the fact that I have credit cards I could be charging this stuff to, but can't because if I do, I could lose the financing on my new house. So it is now early afternoon and we are behind in loading the truck. And now I have to stop and go to a document signing for my house in Spokane. Just what I need, an interruption to slow me down. Well, we leave to go to the signing and then go to my wife's parents' house for dinner, consuming a few more hours, but it is our last visit before we move away. Well, now it's after 7 p.m. and it's getting dark, and the truck is not finished being loaded. The house hasn't been cleaned for the new people. I am now in agony as the loading and walking around has taken its toll and shown me how far I still have to go on this journey of healing I thought I was doing so well on. Well, my wife and I had resigned to the fact that we were not going to get done in time and that things were going to have to be left behind. So we invited our neighbors from across the street to visit our Everything is Free, Just Get It Out of Here garage sale at 8 p.m. Well, they took pity on us and got out some big old shop lights and set set them up so we could see, and then proceeded to spend the next 3 or 4 hours getting us loaded up. And they got to do a little shopping. Plus, they are letting us store some stuff at their place that we can pick up on a return visit to Spokane. There was evening and there was morning the first day. So we get up the next morning. I make my 39th video just before we pull away to start the journey to our new home. Well, the journey starts out mostly uneventful. It is now 3 p.m. and we are in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, about an hour or so outside of Portland, and are trying to get through Portland before rush hour hits because we are a convoy of 4 vehicles: my car, my wife's car, the moving truck, and our friend's car. And we don't want to get separated in the middle of Portland's rush hour. Suddenly, my lender calls and tells me they need a copy of one of my credit card statements. Naturally, I don't have this piece of paper, and if I did, it's buried in some box in the middle of the truck. So we pull off the road at some gas station, and I set my phone up as a mobile hotspot for the internet and try to download a copy of my statement for them. The credit card statement proved to be more of a challenge than I anticipated. First, my wife did not know the login info for the credit card account because she likes getting the bill in the mail for some reason. So I have to go through the whole password recovery rigmarole. I finally got logged in and found the statement is unavailable because we had not enrolled in e-statements. And the credit card company won't let you view your statements online unless you enroll in e-statements, which again, my wife doesn't want to because she wants the statement to come in the mail. So now I have a problem. They want a document that shows the account number, the current balance, our names, and when the last payment was made. The website is designed to not show all that info simultaneously. So now they are wanting a document that, as far as I'm concerned, does not exist. So I make PDFs of the various pages and send them to my lender, who has been on the phone this entire time. They say what I have sent them will work. So now we can carry on, having been delayed by at least an hour. Now I am the navigator for this excursion, and everybody is following me. The 1 hour delay forced us to hit Portland at the height of rush hour, and we have 3 highway changes to make. So we get through the first one, and Portland seems like a ghost town, and the roads are nearly empty. I start thinking, maybe this won't be that bad. Light traffic, good visibility, this should be no problem at all. Then we hit the next interchange. So this is where everybody was hiding. I instantly lose sight of everybody that was following me, even the big 26-foot U-Haul. We had 20 or so miles on this highway, and it's mostly stop and go traffic. So now my phone starts acting up and it won't complete calls for some reason. It would ring, but as soon as the call was answered, it would disconnect. So now I'm in heavy traffic without a phone and no visibility to the people who were following me. This is perfect. We came up on a straight stretch of highway. So I pulled off, and I am thinking that if they see me, they can pull off behind me, and we can come up with a plan. Or they may not see me and might just pass me, but at least then uh, they are in front of me, and if they pull off or something, I will be able to see where they are. Or they could just stay on the interstate, and if we miss our exit, we miss our exit, but they could all be reacquired. Well, a minute after pulling over, the go portion of traffic hits, and I saw two of the cars following me blow right by. Well, now I need to find the third. A minute or two later, that car blows by me. Can I get back on the road? No. So I have to wait 3 or 4 minutes before I can get back on the road. Well, I get back on the road and now have to weave through traffic. I catch up to my wife and she lets me in front of her as she was the most courteous driver in all of Portland that day. Well, she is able to follow me now that traffic is moving and we catch up to the other two cars and the convoy is reassembled. On to Kelso, Washington, where we will get on Highway 30 in the dark. Now, God's hand of protection was on us for the entire trip so far, but He worked overtime on the stretch from Kelso to our hotel in Long Beach. I have a bit of a vision issue, and night blindness is a bit of an issue for me, particularly with oncoming headlights. Well, my friends exercised bad judgment on Monday. Not one to be beaten, I engaged in recklessness on Tuesday. Highway 30 between Kelso and Astoria is a lovely, windy mountain drive in the daytime. At night, it is a poor visibility, deer infested gauntlet of blind corners at 60 miles an hour. Being as we had planned to make the drive all in one day, we booked a condo for everyone in Long Beach, and we couldn't stop to wait for morning because, again, how would I pay for a hotel that wasn't planned for? So I, as the now blind navigator, start leading the way. The fact that not one of us hit a deer is a miracle, and no one can convince me otherwise, being as that I have night blindness and there was no shortage of oncoming traffic. I had to drive this road by watching the white line on the side of the road 6 feet in front of my car. I was not really watching the road in front of me, and I saw more than one deer butt in my headlights just inches from my fender. I would later find from the other people on the trip that I was not alone in my experience with the deer frolicking in the middle of the road. Well, we got to Astoria, and now it was time for the final stretch to Long Beach. This stretch was dark and windy, but mostly uneventful. We finally got to the condo hotel. My wife goes to check in, and our bank card is declined. Now we have 7 people needing a place to stay after a 10-hour drive and all the excitement I just detailed for you, and we are unable to check in. Well, unbeknownst to us, auto payments that we thought we had canceled in anticipation of the move had been hitting our account. Uh, Now we don't have enough to cover the hold for the hotel. This is wonderful. We explained the situation to the counter guy that could have told us to get lost, but he said he could do the hold for half the amount of the stay. And because my mom had loaned me money and my friends had waived off repaying them right away, I still had the money I deposited. It was just enough to cover the hold. Well, our house in Spokane was supposed to close the next day on Wednesday, so we should be fine. For the night, especially since I went to extraordinary lengths to make sure the closer knew to direct deposit the surplus money from the sale directly into my checking account. We get checked in and go to bed for the night. I am glad it is over. It has been a stressful 2 days already. And there was evening, and there was morning the second day. So Wednesday morning is fairly uneventful. I am down to my last $100, but that shouldn't be a big deal. We should be able to go out, have some fun, because my money should be deposited any time now. Then I get a call from my realtor in Spokane, and he tells me he's in a fight with the buyer's lender because the lender wants a receipt for some work we did. During during the inspection phase of the deal, the buyer requested an electrical outlet be replaced by a professional to make it a GFCI outlet. Well, that type of thing doesn't require professionals, so when responding to the offer, we agreed to change the outlet, but that we would have the work done however we saw fit. That was fine with the buyer, and we did the work. Well, now the lender is wanting a receipt for work that doesn't have a receipt and doesn't require one either. My house in Spokane is not going to close in time, and I am not getting the money I desperately need for food, hotel, gas, repaying my friends for when they paid the movers. So now I am broke. It might surprise you to find that $100 in a tourist town doesn't go very far, and now we have to live off of it for another day. Well, at least I got the signing for my new house done and out of the way. So all I need now is for the Spokane house to close, and I will be fine. Well, my realtor came up with an idea late that evening that he will have us sign an addendum to the contract saying that we and the buyer are satisfied with the work that was done, and maybe that will appease the lender. Now I said many things this day, and I am sure not one of them was praise for the Lord and how he had taken care of us so far. I'm sure I said things that could be described as sniveling. This is not a good look on me, and is something God has talked to me about before, as I related in my 34th video. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. So now it is Thursday, and the buyer can't seem to sign the addendum electronically. So the buyer won't sign till noon, which means my house in Spokane won't close on Thursday either. Now it's getting ugly because there is something I haven't mentioned yet. In Pacific County, where I am moving to, real estate transactions are recorded for only 1 hour a day between 11 and noon because of COVID. So in order for the sale to record, all the Spokane stuff needs to be done before 11 a.m. on Friday, or my house won't record till Monday, which means I have nowhere to stay Saturday or Sunday night. Plus, I will have no money to pay my friends back or pay the movers that are supposed to show up Friday, or for the extra days with the U-Haul or the hotel that currently has only half the money that I owe them. It's looking really grim. Time to start making calls. My wife talks to the hotel and they negotiate a lower rate for us and will let us stay through Sunday if needed, which is a relief and won't cost us much more. I called the movers and tell them I will have to reschedule, but I don't know if I will need them Saturday or Monday. They let me reschedule at this late time for no extra cost. I called the local U-Haul and the guy told me that I wasn't scheduled to return the truck till Saturday morning. This brings up another detail that I have neglected to mention. I mentioned before how the first deal in my house fell through. Well, a week prior to that happening, U-Haul called me and asked me if I was willing to take a trailer to Long Beach because they needed to get some over here. Initially, I said no because I didn't want to deal with it, but then I changed my mind. I thought it might come in handy to load up all the last minute stuff the morning we left, like our sleeping gear and such. Well, it turns out that the trailer was not just handy, it was necessary, and I had to give away a lot less stuff because I had it. It also prompted U-Haul to offer me 3 extra days of rental on the truck for free, plus extra mileage, both of which came in handy, as that made my return date Saturday. Well, anyway, the U-Haul guy said I was supposed to have the truck back at 7 a.m., but he wasn't going to be around till 8:30 anyway and wouldn't charge me as long as I got it to him before the close of business Saturday. Well, it's Thursday, and if everything goes smooth, in the morning I won't have an issue with the truck. The movers can come Saturday. I will be able to pay my friends back before they head back home Saturday morning. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Now it is Friday morning, and there is nothing left for me to do but not screw up my credit. I am completely out of money, so I call my lender to ask him if I can use one of my credit cards to buy some food and some gas. He says I can, but to keep the purchases small, as those likely won't cause an issue, but if it did, we could pay what we spent with the proceeds of the sale when the house closes. But if it gets caught, it might delay the closing of my house another day. Well, having nothing else to do except wait, we get gas, have breakfast, and go to the beach. It is now about 10:30 a.m., and I get a text from my Spokane realtor saying that I need to sign an extension for the delays, or the lender, or the buyer's lender, uh, won't fund the deal in Spokane. Now remember, my house needs to record for Long Beach by before 12, or my family and I are effectively homeless and destitute come Monday morning. My realtor messages me a few minutes later saying not to worry about it. He was able to get it handled. It is now 11:56 a.m. I know because I checked the log on my phone. I asked my realtor in Spokane if everything was good there. At 12:06 he tells me the money from my new house was wired to the title company here in Long Beach, and that the money from my account should be showing up any time as well. Oh, sweet relief. I will have the money I need to pay what I owe and get things settled. That relief was short-lived. At about 1 o'clock, I learned we had missed the window and that my new house did not record. I also learned that the money I needed was not going to be wired into my account because the title company had my money in the form of two checks an hour's drive away from where I am, and that I will get them Monday after the house records. It is now 2 o'clock. Now 2 o'clock, and I am defeated. I have no money, no home. It is a disaster. I begin to quote Ecclesiastes 1 again, and was regretting what I said in my 38th video, where I said trusting the Lord is seeing disaster coming and telling him you trust him while you stand there and watch it come at you. At this point, I thought that I would have been better off to shout, I trust you, Lord, over my shoulder as I ran away. Then at 3 o'clock, I got an email from the title company saying my house here in Long Beach has been recorded. That made my head spin a little. How is that possible? The recording office has been closed for 3 hours. Apparently what happened was back on Thursday, my lender funded my house without having received the money for the down payment and closing costs. So that when that money did arrive, everything could be done quickly. The money showed up late to the title company, but they did have the money, and they knew about our situation. So the lady at the title company called one of the people that works in the recording office and asked them to process my house as an emergency and as a favor. This one thing alone proves that these events are a miracle. If you think it takes anything less than an act of God to get a government office to open up after hours on a Friday, you are kidding yourself. So anyway, now I am not homeless. I am still broke and can't pay for anything, but at least I have a house. So now I am scrambling to find out what is going on and what this means. I talked to my realtor here in Long Beach, and he tells me I have to hurry, but I can go to the office and get the keys to my house. I then call my lender to make sure that everything is a done deal. He says it is, and that I can start using my credit cards again, which is great because now I have a way to pay for the hotel. Then I call the title company and ask about my checks. They say I can come get them if I am there before 5. It is now 4 p.m. and I have a 55-minute drive in front of me according to Google. So I take off for the title company. I arrive at the office at 4:50. I ask if either one of my banks is nearby, being that both banks I use are major nationwide banks. Their answer is no. They used to have one of them a few years ago, but not now. Not super helpful right now. Well, my cell service was good, so I hurriedly signed the checks and deposited them with the mobile apps on my phone, one into each of my accounts. So that way, if there was an issue with one bank, maybe there wouldn't be an issue with the other. The larger check deposited just fine, and my account said the funds would be available after midnight. I deposited the smaller check in the other account, figuring it would be the same deal. No, 14-day hold. Well, that is super, but at least I will have the money from the other check available in the morning, so I will be fine. It is now 4:58. The checks had to be deposited before 5 p.m. for them to post for Saturday. Even the Lord didn't want to cut it any closer. All would be well. I let the movers know that they needed to come Saturday. 2 Peter 3:9 says, "The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. So now it is Saturday, and I wake up and check my account that said the check would be available. It's not available. 14-day hold. Oh no, not again. So I checked the other account, the one that told me up front that the check would be held and the money, but the money was there. I was able to pay my friends back before they went home. Between my credit cards and the check that cleared, I had just enough money to cover all the expenses I had incurred so far. The movers came and these guys busted a hump and got me unloaded, and I was able to return the U-Haul about 30 minutes before the close of business. I had already booked the hotel for that night, so we stayed there since all of our stuff was in the house but not set up. My wife and I were wiped out and felt the need to thank the Lord for what he had done. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. It is now Sunday morning. We check out of our hotel and start the long process of getting our new home set up. Nothing of any consequence happened on Sunday. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. This was a grueling and trying process for me and my family. However, the Lord revealed many things to me through this trial. He showed me he started this process years ago, back when I was committed to being alone and had no use for other people. He knew that he wanted to teach me that life is a team effort and that it can't be done alone. Ecclesiastes 4:9 through 10 says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." There were several people that I need to thank, as they not only picked me up, but helped carry me across the finish line. So thank you to my parents and my wife's parents, the Petons, who decided to join us for a second time on a wild leap of faith. I'd also like to thank my realtor in Spokane, Rich Prasser. Look him up if you need a realtor in Spokane. He does a good job. I also want to thank my lender, Todd Fenninger. Look him up if you need financing for a home. He does a good job too. My realtor here in Long Beach, Ted Magnuson, stayed calm even when we didn't. I would like to thank the title company lady I don't even know. I want to thank the Bransons that worked with us till 11:30 at night, helping us load the truck and trailer. I am sure there are many more, but these were the major players for this experience, and they were a witness to God's power. And lastly, I would thank the Lord, who continues to show me patience even when I don't deserve it. And then there was evening, and there was morning.